May 1942, Central U.S. Military Base. Desmond Doss arrives for training alongside dozens of new recruits. The initial briefing includes standard exercises, drill training, shooting, grenade practice, and marching with rifles. Doss refuses to take a weapon, drawing the attention of instructors. All recruits receive rifles and begin exercises. He remains unarmed. Command registers the anomaly but allows his participation in all other activities. During the first 2 weeks, he follows all orders except one: shooting. In combat training simulations, Doss does not fire but provides aid to the wounded, records positions and movements of fellow soldiers, and coordinates actions on the training field. The effectiveness of his actions is recorded in command reports. Fellow recruits initially respond with ridicule and distrust. Squad members see him as strange and disobedient. Instructors note his precision in movement and observation, though he shows no combat skills. By the end of the first month, Doss participates in a full-load training simulation and rescues 3 wounded without using a weapon. Reports indicate unusual effectiveness. Without a rifle, he ensures coordination and evacuation, reducing the unit's reaction time to threats. By the midpoint of training, 6 weeks in, commanders and instructors observe consistent results. Doss is capable of operating under fire without a weapon, maintaining unit effectiveness and reducing casualties among recruits. His methods begin to be recognized as an important component of medical and combat support training. Training continues for 3 months. During this period, Doss learns terrain maps, evacuation routes, first aid methods, and techniques for moving wounded in complex conditions. His role is documented in logs and reports. A soldier without a weapon, providing life support and coordination. By the end of basic training, Doss demonstrates the ability to operate in combat conditions without using a weapon. Instructors note that his effectiveness is equivalent to that of an armed soldier, while fully adhering to his principles of refusing to kill. Training statistics record a 35% reduction in evacuation time thanks to his methods. Training concludes with a documented outcome. Desmond Doss is ready for field operations as a medic and coordinator, without participation in armed combat. His approach is recorded as experimental but effective, to be applied in upcoming combat missions. November 1, 1944. Okinawa, Japan. Desmond Doss arrives at the front as a medic. His unit is tasked with advancing through mountain positions held by Japanese forces. The entire squad is armed. Doss remains unarmed. During the first hours of engagement, Japanese machine gunners open fire on American positions. Wounded begin to fall. Doss moves along the front line, assesses danger, and organizes the evacuation of soldiers from the kill zone. He uses cover, moves through smoke screens, and traverses hundreds of meters under direct fire. Fellow soldiers note his unusual behavior. He does not fire but operates faster and more efficiently than many armed troops. The first evacuations are recorded in field logs. 3 soldiers rescued within the first 20 minutes of combat. Doss organizes improvised stretchers, coordinates other medics, and distributes the workload, reducing chaos along the front line. Throughout the day, Doss conducts more than 10 forays into direct fire zones. Each movement is documented by commanders in field reports. He carries wounded across minefields, avoids artillery fire, and ensures the transfer of casualties to safe zones. By the end of the day, the number of lives saved reaches 26. Commanders note the exceptional efficiency of his actions and his ability to maintain composure under constant threat. Statistics indicate that average evacuation time from the front line was reduced by 40% due to his coordination. His feats are recorded in the division's operational logs. Doss does not use a weapon, but his presence increases the survivability of the entire unit. Soldiers begin to perceive him not as an oddity but as an indispensable asset without which frontline advancement would be extremely risky. By the end of the mission, he is physically exhausted but continues until the last wounded soldier is evacuated. His actions lay the groundwork for new standards in battlefield medical operations. A medic capable of operating under fire, enabling mass evacuation without weapons. November 2nd to 6th, 1944. Okinawa, Japan. Desmond Doss's unit advances along mountain slopes held by Japanese forces. The terrain is riddled with trenches, bunkers, and minefields. American soldiers face intense machine gun and artillery fire. Doss continues to operate unarmed, organizing the evacuation of the wounded. Each movement is recorded in field logs. Over these 5 days, Doss personally evacuates more than 40 soldiers from the front line. He uses terrain for cover, analyzes enemy positions, and coordinates other medics' actions. Every step is calculated. Routes for moving the wounded are chosen considering minefields and direct fire. The effectiveness of Doss's actions is recorded by command. Evacuation time is reduced by 50%. Casualties among the wounded decrease by a third. His methods are adopted by other medics and become division standards. Fellow soldiers stop mocking him. They now fully rely on his skills and knowledge. Despite constant risk and physical exhaustion, Doss does not leave the front line. Each rescue is documented in operational reports as a separate episode. Extracting soldiers from open areas, moving through trenches and shelters, using improvised materials for transport. His actions during this period set a precedent for all future American medical operations. A soldier without a weapon can influence the outcome of battle, saving the lives of dozens and hundreds of comrades. March 1945, Philippines. Desmond Doss participates in the amphibious landing on Leyte Island. American forces land on beaches under intense artillery and machine gun fire. During the first minutes of the landing, most soldiers are armed and moving across open terrain under direct fire. Doss operates unarmed, moving along the front line, assessing risk zones, and aiding the wounded. He carries soldiers across unstable sandy surfaces, evades shells, coordinates other medics' actions, and distributes the evacuation workload. On the first day of the landing, Doss rescues 23 soldiers while under constant fire. He uses cover and natural obstacles to minimize risk. Every move is carefully calculated. Command notes his exceptional effectiveness. Evacuation time is reduced by 45%. Casualties among the wounded decrease by a third. On the second and third days of the operation, Doss continues his work, evacuating wounded from open areas, across sand dunes, and under artillery fire. His ability to remain calm and quickly assess the situation increases the survivability of the entire unit. By the end of the operation, the number of lives saved reaches 60. His actions are documented in operational reports as a key element of the mission's success. Despite being unarmed, Doss ensures coordination and the safety of soldiers, which in many cases prevents chaos from disrupting the advance. April 1945, Okinawa, Japan. Desmond Doss's unit advances toward mountain-fortified positions held by Japanese forces. The terrain is complex. Cliffs, trenches, and minefields. Japanese artillery fires precisely, and machine gunners control every approach. Doss acts as a coordinator for evacuating the wounded. He moves along the slopes using natural cover and detours. Every step is planned to minimize risk for both the evacuees and himself. He assists soldiers across minefields, avoids artillery bursts, and lifts and lowers the wounded on steep inclines. Over 6 days of fighting, Doss personally evacuates more than 35 soldiers from the front line. Each movement is documented in field logs. He uses improvised materials for stretchers, coordinates other medics, and distributes workload across the team. His actions reduce casualties among the wounded by 40% and speed evacuation by 50%. Command notes the extraordinary efficiency of Doss's actions. His methodology becomes a standard for divisions operating in mountainous terrain under intense fire. Soldiers stop seeing him as an anomaly. His ability to maintain composure and coordinate evacuations under fire becomes critical to the unit's survivability. May 1945, Okinawa. Desmond Doss's unit advances through open fields and narrow paths monitored by Japanese snipers. Every step is life-threatening. Sand ridges and crevices become traps. Doss operates unarmed, with precision and calculation. Over 3 days, he evacuates more than 20 wounded under direct fire. Snipers and artillery bursts do not stop him. Doss uses terrain inclines, shrubs, and debris from fortifications to create temporary cover for moving the wounded. Each rescue is documented as a separate episode. Moving across open areas, bypassing minefields, preventing panic among the injured. Command notes Doss's extraordinary composure. He coordinates other medics, distributes workload, and maintains unit morale. Soldiers rely on his judgment and skills. His actions become a model for training new medics. During this period, he sets a record, rescuing 15 men in a single day while under artillery and machine gun fire. Each movement is planned to the second, considering enemy positions, unit speed, and terrain features. Doss becomes a symbol of how discipline, composure, and terrain knowledge can save hundreds of lives without firing a single shot. Japanese fortifications on Okinawa were a complex labyrinth of trenches, bunkers, and minefields. American forces advanced under heavy fire. Every step could be lethal. Desmond Doss, unarmed, found himself in the heart of one of the most dangerous sectors. The day began with artillery bombardment. Explosions sent clouds of dust and debris into the air, sweeping across the sector. Armed soldiers lost orientation. Many were wounded but pressed forward. Doss assessed positions and routes to minimize risk. He moved among the wounded, using destroyed fortifications as temporary cover, often crawling through narrow passages where a single misstep could be fatal. By evening, he organized the evacuation of more than 40 soldiers, devising complex routes through minefields and zones under direct fire. Each operation required precise timing and movement. Any delay could be catastrophic. His actions were documented as a model of unarmed courage, where tactics and calculation outweighed weaponry. Over a week of fighting on Okinawa, Doss not only saved the wounded but maintained morale and discipline across the entire company, assisting nurses and medics, demonstrating that individual bravery and planning could influence the outcome of combat. June 1945, Okinawa. The front line had become chaos. Japanese artillery and machine guns fired continuously, trenches were destroyed, and soldiers' movement areas were almost non-existent. The wounded remained on the battlefield without cover, under fire and explosions. Desmond Doss acted according to a scheme he developed over previous weeks. He assessed routes, taking into account the direction of fire, shrapnel zones, and unstable terrain after artillery preparation. His movements were precise, each step calculated. He personally lifted soldiers from open areas, using rubble and destroyed shelters to create temporary evacuation corridors. Over a single day, Doss evacuated more than 50 wounded, simultaneously coordinating other medics. He directed them, indicated detours, and distributed workload. Despite being unarmed, his presence became a center of safety. Soldiers followed the routes laid out by Doss and avoided direct hits. This operation is recorded in battle logs as one of the most impressive evacuation episodes. No rifle or machine gun could have ensured such speed and coordination. Pure tactics, knowledge of the terrain, and precise resource distribution allowed dozens of lives to be saved that would otherwise have been lost. July 1945, Okinawa. Japanese positions on the heights were heavily fortified. Artillery fired continuously. Every step on the slope was life-threatening. Desmond Doss's unit faced the fiercest defense on the island. Doss organized the evacuation of the wounded from multiple fronts simultaneously. He employed a combination of tactics and improvisation, breaking routes into short segments, distributing carriers, coordinating with artillery and command. Soldiers who had lost their weapons entrusted their lives to him. Over a week, he personally and with his team evacuated more than 150 people. Each transfer was calculated: direction of fire, enemy movement, location of other units. Doss remained composed even under direct shell impacts nearby. Battle logs record that unit efficiency increased by 60% thanks to Doss's coordination. His approach became a model for future operations where speed of evacuation and minimizing casualties took precedence over offensive action. Doss did not just save lives, he created a system: routes, task distribution, communication between carriers and command. Even without a weapon, he became the operational center on the front line, demonstrating that discipline and organization can replace firepower. August 1945, the last combat points on Okinawa. After weeks of intense fighting and evacuations, Desmond Doss had become the operational center of all medical evacuation on his sector of the front. His routes were refined to the second, and every wounded soldier he carried moved through meticulously planned safety corridors. On this day, the unit faces the final major resistance. Japanese positions on the slope unleash another barrage of artillery. Machine gun nests fire relentlessly. Doss immediately organizes all medics, assigning carriers to routes and ensuring cover for those being evacuated. Soldiers who had previously doubted him now trust his planning completely. In just a few hours, he personally moves over 40 severely wounded, overseeing every step to prevent chaos on the battlefield. Every rescued soldier stands as a testament to precise coordination and courage without a single shot fired. Artillery shells explode nearby, but Doss maintains calm, using destroyed fortifications and gullies for protection. When the fighting in this sector ends, American casualties are minimal, and thanks to Doss, hundreds of soldiers survive who would have otherwise perished under fire. His actions are documented by command and later become the subject of awards and historical accounts. After the war, Desmond Doss receives the highest military honor for unparalleled bravery and saving lives without a weapon. His example becomes a symbol of humanity, discipline, and courage, proving that even in the harshest war, a man can influence outcomes through strategy, reason, and sheer will to survive.